Have you ever had one of those weeks where you sit down at the charts and then 10 minutes later you're already frustrated? You've opened 5 different markets, looked at a dozen of time frames, and you watched maybe 2 YouTube videos, and somehow you're still not sure what to actually trade. Your brain starts saying, maybe gold looks good, but wait, NOS 100 is moving. So no, maybe Tesla. And that used to be me every single Monday I sat down in front of the charts. I'd waste an entire evening trying to find the perfect setup or the perfect trade. And by the time I convinced myself to enter, I'd already missed the move, or sometimes I'd jump in halfway through the move and then I'd lose. And that whole cycle of guessing, chasing, losing confidence was the reason why it took me so long to trade consistently. So here's the thing, it wasn't that I didn't know how to read charts. It was that my system didn't focus my attention before the week even started. So now, instead of guessing every single day, I spend 15 calm, focused minutes mapping out my trades for the entire week, and now I never start from scratch again. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how I do that every single week. And if you're new or still trying to figure out where to start, this video is going to help you build a structure that you can repeat week after week. Because once you learn to plan like this, your trading stops feeling random. You start feeling like a professional with a routine. So here's what usually happens when traders don't have a plan. They open up their laptop on Monday morning, see maybe 5 or 6 charts moving all at once, and start reacting instead of preparing. And then they'll say, oh, gold is dropping, maybe I should sell. Or Tesla looks strong, maybe I should buy some calls. Or they're not thinking about where the trade fits into the larger market structure. They're trying to catch something that's already moving. That's like trying to jump onto a moving train instead of just waiting at the station. Maybe you land on it, but maybe it's messy, stressful, and you have no idea where it's headed. So in this video, we're definitely going to change that. So first, let's talk about how I actually plan my week and how you can do the same in 15 minutes or less. But before I do that though, if you're brand new to trading and you're looking to learn the basics of building a strategy, marking levels, placing your first trades with structure, and with confidence, then check out the Trading Launchpad. This is where I take you from I don't even know what I'm doing or I don't even know what to look for to being able to plan and execute trades in the way I'm about to show you. And if you're new to trading, or maybe you have some trading skills under your belt, then check out the Profitable Traders Academy. Inside, I take you through my step-by-step process for finding opportunities, marking up charts, knowing exactly what you should look for before taking a trade. And also, I provide live help 2 times a week and every single day inside of the community. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through this. The first thing I do every single week, and I mean every single week, is to check the economic calendar. I want to know if there is some major news event or something major that can move the markets that I care about. CPI, that's once a month, and it tells us about inflation. And NFP, that's non-farm payrolls. It's usually the first Friday of every single month, and it tells us whether or not people are losing their jobs and basically how many jobs have been created or lost in that month. We also look at interest rate decisions. That happens 8 times a month. And that information is presented by the Federal Reserve Chair at this point is Jerome Powell. And there's a committee called the FOMC committee, which is Federal Open Market Committee, where they come up with the decisions for these interest rates. And that's usually 8 times a month. And for earnings, every company presents those 4 times a year. And I just want to know for the week what companies have earnings that I'm focused on. So basically, you can Google a lot of this information. Just go to Google and type in something like economic calendar, and then make sure that whatever calendar you use, you filter on the country, because that's going to make the information really simple. And I like to use forexfactory.com and a couple of others, but Forex Factory is going to give you most of what you're looking for. And that's because here's what I learned the hard way. You can have the perfect setup, but if Jerome Powell or something happens in the news, that can move markets drastically. And the market doesn't care about your technical analysis. So I checked those events first, and earlier in my trading, it could have saved me over $30,000 in a loss. Say, for example, if gold has big news on Thursday, I already know earlier in the week that the markets might be slower or maybe choppy. And choppy just means that price goes up and down in a short amount of time, and there's really no clear direction inside of the market at the moment. That step alone saves me from unnecessary losses. I know to wait and see when there's more momentum inside of the market. Then I move to the charts and I start very, very broad. So let's just say that there's at least one market that I want to trade that week. I look at the daily time frame first, not for entries, but for context in the market. I need to know what is the overall direction. And I also need to know, are we trending? Meaning, are we going up or down? Or are we ranging? Or is the market choppy? Is it just going like this and not really going anywhere? Because that's where most traders get it wrong. They zoom straight into like a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart and wonder why nothing makes sense. You have to zoom all the way out first. And then when I look at the daily chart, I'm not trying to predict the market. I'm trying to listen. What is price telling me? If gold has been pushing higher for the past few weeks, but it's now slowing down at a resistance point, that's information. And that doesn't mean that I sell immediately. It just means that I mark off the level and I prepare for how price might react there. So after I mark off these key zones, support and resistance, I narrow it down to about 3 to 5 markets that look the cleanest to me for that week. That's it. Not 10 markets, not 15, just the 5, because I end up overanalyzing and second guessing every single move. And that's exactly what happened to me in the beginning. So I like to focus on the 3 to 5 markets. And that's really all you really need in the markets in order to build consistency. And by the way, those are the exact same markets that I share every single week inside of LaKiesha's trading watch list. I include the levels that I'm watching, the potential entry zones, and the notes on upcoming news events that could affect those markets. So if you ever sit down at your charts and think, where do I even start? That is going to be the simplest way for you to save hours and hours of time in your week and allows you to start with structure. You can check that out at watchlist.lakeishatrades.com, or you can go ahead and click on the link in the description box below. All right, so once I've narrowed my list down, I'll drop down to the 4-hour time frame and then also the 1-hour time frame. This is where I start to refine things. I'm looking for very clean structure. I'm looking for things like, is price climbing up the stairs, making higher points each time, or is it stepping down, making lower points? Nothing complicated, no indicators, just looking at price at this point. And here's why this part is so important. Your brain needs repetition. If every week you're looking at random markets and using different methods, you'll never build the pattern recognition that you need in order to be successful inside of the markets. But when you use a simple routine like this, the same time frames, the same structure, and the same checklist, your confidence will grow naturally. So once I've confirmed the structure, I start identifying potential entry zones for that market. And this is where I think most beginners overcomplicate things. They're zooming in way too soon, trying to catch a candle pattern, but they haven't really defined where those candles even matter. So what I do is I mark 1 to 2, maybe even 3 clean zones on a chart, and then I look for levels where price have clearly reacted in the past. I don't need 10 lines or a bunch of rainbow color indicators. I just need clean, logical points where buyers and sellers showed up in the market. Now, your mind might say, well, what if price doesn't respect those levels this time? And that's totally fair, especially because markets change, right? But this is where experience comes in. If you're reacting after price has hit those zones instead of guessing before, you're always one step ahead emotionally. At this point, you're responding, not chasing. And that little tiny shift is what takes you from an anxious trader to a calm operator, which is exactly what you need to be in the markets. So once those zones are drawn, I'll glance at my 15-minute time frame. And it's not always that I'm trading from that time frame, but it's to visually understand how price has been behaving inside of that structure. I need to know, are we consolidating before a breakout, or are we already extended and ready for a pullback? All of this context helped me plan my approach for the week. And remember, this whole process takes just 15 minutes. By the time I'm done, I know exactly which markets I'm focusing on, which ones I'm watching, and which ones I'm looking to take action in, and what news could impact them. That's it. It's a simple, repeatable, and consistent process that I can follow over and over again. And if you're brand new, this might sound like a lot right now. Trust me, it did for me. But once you've done it a few times, it literally does become second nature. And here's the thing, you don't need to trade all day to make progress either. You just need to prepare like a professional. When I first started doing this routine, it honestly felt way too simple. I thought there's no way that 15 minutes can replace the hours that I used to spend scanning charts and looking for different trading ideas. But then something clicked. The extra time I used to waste on overanalyzing the charts, I started using that to review my journal instead and study how my trades actually played out. And that's when my growth in the markets really accelerated. Because preparation doesn't just give you direction, it also gives you peace of mind. You stop waking up every day wondering, am I missing something? And instead, you know exactly what to focus on. And here's the really cool part. When you plan your week like this, your mind gets quieter during the trading day. At this point, you're no longer reacting to every 5-minute candle or a random tweet from everyone with an opinion online because you are following your map. Think of this plan like driving with GPS. You might hit a little bit of traffic, but you still know exactly where you're headed. And that is exactly how professional traders think. And the traders who last in this game aren't the ones with complicated indicators or people with the biggest accounts in the beginning. They're the ones with routines that make them calm under pressure. So let me ask you this. How would your results change if you started every single week with a clear plan, with 3 to 5 markets, with levels marked, and a calm sense of focus instead of panic? You can start doing that right now with LaKiesha's trading watch list at watchlist.lakeishatrades.com. Every single Monday, I share the exact same markets I'm looking at, the levels I'm interested in, and the notes about the events that could shake things up during the week. It's a simple way to stay grounded while you build the trading skill that you're looking to build. And this is so much better than starting every week from zero because you know exactly what I'm looking at and why. And when you already know what you're watching, you give yourself the space to actually think like a trader. You're not scrambling for setups or chasing random alerts. You're analyzing calmly, waiting for your levels to get hit, and acting only if the market gives you that confirmation that you're looking for. That's how confidence is built, through calm and repetition. Now, I'm not saying that this 15-minute prep will make you rich overnight. I wish. But what it will do is it'll keep you from blowing your account through random decisions in the market. And when I look back at my earlier days, most of my losses didn't come from bad analysis. Actually, my charts were on point, and my issue was just rushing into the market, basically just reacting. And that's normal when you're new. It's understandable because you're eager, you want results fast, and every move looks like the one that you need to take. But here's the truth. The traders who last are the ones who slow down enough in order to make very thoughtful decisions in the market, and you want to do that before the market opens. So even if you only apply just one thing from this video, let it be this. Set aside 15 quiet minutes every single week for preparation. No distractions, no notifications, just you, your charts, and you creating a plan for yourself based off all the stuff I just talked about in this video. Because when you do, you'll notice that trading starts to feel less like gambling and more like running a business. That's the kind of mindset you should have for this. You'll also make fewer trades, but you'll have more high quality trades, and you will stop chasing and start anticipating. And over time, your account and your mindset will start to reflect that. And if we're being honest, we all want trading to feel a little bit more predictable, right? We want to wake up, check our plan, and feel like we know exactly what we're doing. And that's the exact process that I just gave you in this video. When you prep ahead of time, you're not just saving minutes, you're also saving mental energy that could be used in other places that matter, like executing your trades and also reflecting on the trades that you've already taken. Because once your plan is in place, the rest of the week becomes about discipline and not decision fatigue, trying to figure out what you're actually going to trade. And here's what that looks like in practice for me. On Sundays, usually, I make a cup of tea, I pull up my charts, and I start scanning the market for opportunities. And then within about 15 minutes, I got my list of markets and I got my levels marked off and the notes saved for what may be happening inside of the market this week. That's literally my entire plan here. So when Monday rolls around, and let's just say that I see that gold is approaching one of my zones, I don't have to think. I already know what I'm looking for, whether it's a rejection, a candle wick, a breakout, a retest, or whatever. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And if it plays out, great. And if it doesn't, I move on. No stress, no forcing trades for me. I just roll on to the next opportunity. And that's what allows me to trade with confidence, especially because I've already done my thinking before the market even opens. And And if you want to see how this looks step by step, and you want to see the same plan that I use every single week, that's exactly what you'll find inside of LaKiesha's trading watch list. You'll see the same process I just walked through, picking those 3 to 5 markets, what zones I'm watching, what I'm focused on for the week, and what events that may come up in order to adjust my plan based on those events. It's a very simple way to stay aligned, and it's also a great way to start building your own routine without wasting hours every single week trying to figure out what to trade. And once you've built this routine, the next step of learning how to think through each setup like a professional is going to be easier. That means knowing when to wait, when to scale in, and when to stay out of the market completely. And that's exactly where the Profitable Traders Academy comes in. We take what you see inside of the watch list and we go deeper into execution, and we also focus on risk, different habits that you should have, and then the mindset you should have as well. You'll also learn how to evaluate your trades and how to adjust when the market shifts, and how to build real consistency instead of relying on luck or just random signals. Because trading isn't about what the charts are saying, it's about how you think when you're there. So let me share something that happened with one of my students recently. She told me that she used to spend every single Sunday scrolling through random markets. And that whole process for her was overwhelming, and it made her even more unsure. And then she joined the Profitable Traders Academy. And from there, she learned the exact planning routine that I just shared with you all today. And within a few weeks, she wasn't just seeing cleaner opportunities in the market, she was actually finishing her analysis faster and then sleeping better before trading days because she knew she had a plan. And that's the power of structure. It doesn't just improve your charts, it improves your headspace. And when your headspace is calm, the results will follow. So, if you've been second guessing every single setup inside of the market, start by simplifying. Block out these 15 minutes, look at a few clean charts, mark your levels, and then let the market come to you. Because once you see how calm trading can actually feel, you'll wonder why you ever did it any other way. You'll be like, why didn't I get this before? And that's when growth really starts to compound. Not because you found a secret indicator or an insider tip, but it's because you stopped fighting the market and you started to work with it. And that's what this 15-minute routine represents. It's not about speed, it's about clarity. Because you're learning to separate signal from noise and focus on the setups that align with your plan and ignore everything else. And that focus allows you to stay in this game long enough to actually become profitable. So if you've been craving more direction, or you just want more of a calm, focused way to start your week, then go ahead and grab LaKiesha's trading watch list. You'll get the same levels and notes that I use before every single week begins, and you'll never be guessing where to start, especially because I've mapped it out for you. And just to let you know, the price is increasing on this next month, so definitely get in there soon. And when you're ready to go deeper, to learn how to manage risk and build consistency inside of the markets, and trade with the same confidence I'm talking about here, then definitely join the Profitable Traders Academy. That's where we turn weekly plans into long-term results. You don't need to do this alone. Why would you? There's so much support out there. You don't need to do this alone. You just need a structure that makes sense and a mentor who's walked the same road that you're on right now. So take your 15 minutes today, open your charts, breathe, and then start mapping out your week. That small step will change how you trade, how you think, and how you feel when you sit down in front of the screen. Because trading gets a lot easier when you stop guessing and you start preparing. On the screen right now, you'll see a couple videos that'll help you plan even smarter trades. Go ahead and click on one of those videos, and I'll see you there.